to make you the
Okay.
first topic. Hey, are we live yet?
We are live.
All right. What's up, Mortgage Coach community? Dave Savage. This is our Friday Mastermind. So if you have questions, if you want to jump on video, let us know. Just raise your hand. We've got Jermey Forcier as a special guest. He's en route to I don't know where. By the way, where are you going, Jermey? Vegas?
Yeah, on my way to Vegas to go see the Conor McGregor fight.
Nice. Living big, buddy. We've got Michelle Town on today's call. What's up, Michelle?
Hi, everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So Jeremy's en route, so we're going to do his discussion topic first. To me, this is what makes our community so badass and awesome is we've got, first of all, someone like Jermey Forcier in the community, and he's got a strategy that he is implementing right now in the marketplace. He sent me an email this morning saying, Dave, check it out. And now here we are. You guys are all getting it. If you're watching the recording, hopefully you get value from this. Jermey, why don't you set it up, and then I'll just click the link. By the way, everybody, it is in the attachment, or it's in the top of our Facebook group. So the strategy that we're going to talk about is right here at the top. Jermey, why don't you set it up? What are you doing, and how is it working?
Yeah, so we have a new problem in the market, so we have to come up with new solutions. The problem that I'm encountering over and over and over again over the last 4 weeks is buyers falling out of escrow because they want a huge price reduction, and sellers not willing to give a huge price reduction. And the reason that's happening, or I should say the reason I think that's happening, is that most of these buyers that I'm referencing, I have qualified 6 months ago, a year ago. They couldn't get into contract over and over again. Prices continue to go up. And now when they're getting into contract and they're looking at their payments, and that their payments are going to be $300 more a month, et cetera, because of the increase in interest rates over the last year, they're freaking out. And they want to get into contract so bad, they are making offers to get into contract, and then they're trying to negotiate when in contract to get the price down, which is the worst strategy ever. So then you're creating lots of conflict. Now, at the same time, we do have unrealistic sellers in our market as well, because the market is not what it was 6 months ago where I live, but people are demanding that their house is worth X amount, right? So you have overpriced homes, and you have buyers that either can't qualify or can qualify and just upset about the payments being too high. So we have to find a way to connect those people and bridge that gap. So I started playing around with the good old strategy, which I learned from Mortgage Coach and Dave 10 years ago, or 8 years, or whatever it was, the seller buydown strategy. I said, you know what? It's time for the seller buydown strategy again. So here's what I'm doing is I'm creating TCAs, and I'm sending them out to my realtor partners and showing them that, hey, would your seller, okay, if you have a house that's not selling quickly, would your seller rather give a 10%, okay, 10% price reduction on their house so that they can get a buyer in there that can afford it and wants to buy it? Or would you rather give them a 3%, okay, credit towards their closing costs so they can buy down the interest rate by 1 full percent? And what I'm showing everyone is that that's what's going to bridge the gap. Because if the buyer can get a rate that is 1% under what the current market rate is, okay, and it doesn't cost them anything, it actually saves them more money than if they did a 10% price or offer reduction, right? Get the house for 10% less with a current market interest rate. Now, on the seller side, that's a win for the buyer, right? On the seller side, it's a win because instead of costing them, in this example of 500,000, instead of costing them 50 grand less profit, it's only going to cost them 15 grand less profit. So I did a presentation on this with a large group of realtors on Wednesday. It went really well. And I said, you know what, I'm going to make this marketing piece and send it out, which Dave has copied and pasted. I sent it out last night. Sorry if it's loud. I'm at like a little private airport, and there's all these puddle jumpers everywhere. So I sent it out last night to my database of realtors, and you guys, I got 8 responses overnight. I got 3 requests. I even forwarded Dave one of the requests and then my response back to him was specific for that listing. And I think that it's a strategy that everyone needs to talk about, because all people want to talk about is price, right? How can I get the best deal? I'm going to wait. This gives us, once again, the education, the educator's mindset, teacher's mindset of, hey, that's great. You can wait till things go down. But even if they do go down, right, and rates stay the same, or worse, rates are going to continue to go up, it's going to cost you more than buying right now using this strategy. So I think that it's a great strategy. I think that people should use it. I think that you need to understand that it's not something that you're going to show once and everyone's going to go, oh, awesome, because it takes people time to hear it over and over and over and over again until one of the agents is going to start executing it, because it is great. But we have to convince the realtors that this has to be a part of their presentation. This should be talked about at listing agreement signings as a strategy. And I just really think that it could be huge for us over the next 18 months.
Yeah, so by the way, I completely agree with Jeremy. I can assure you that the seller buy down strategy at Mortgage Coach, that you guys have the tool and the power to visually share with your clients, and not only share with the realtor, but share with the family on both sides of it, is a massive competitive differentiator. So on my screen right now, you can see the post. It's got a link to the actual total cost analysis. And by the way, not only can you see how Jeremy positioned it in the TCA, he added a video so you can hear how he's talking to the agents. I didn't want to show you a copy of the email just because it has the realtor's information, but I copy and pasted Jeremy's content so you can see how he emailed it and presented it. By the way, Jeremy, how many different realtors did you send this out to?
532.
Got it. So he sent it out to his past customer, or excuse me, his realtor database, right? It's your realtor database?
Yeah, so realtors in there that I work with are probably around, 100. So then there's like 400 that I don't work in there. So this is a cold marketing piece, right? So the one that Dave's referencing, though, when he didn't want to put the information in, I don't even work with this guy. I'm chasing him. So I've only met with him once, like 2 years ago. I have an appointment now with him because of it. He responded to me and asked me to create one for this listing, this situation that he's in right now, with a seller that doesn't want to lower their price by 100 grand. And I said, well, let's show if we give him a credit of 50 grand, right? That makes a huge difference. So it's working. It's a great strategy. The feedback has been fantastic. I'm not sure how many times it's been viewed so far. It was viewed 20 times, but keep in mind, I just sent it out literally at 7 o'clock last night. So I think that I'm going to get some great traction with it.
So guys, check it out. How cool is this? Jeremy sent out an email, 7 o'clock last night. Here we are at 9 o'clock Pacific. He's already got a realtor he's been chasing for 2 years. This is going to be huge. Now, one caveat I did want to mention, we also have a seller buy down analysis. So while Jeremy did this in a TCA, a total cost analysis, we also have a report we created called the seller buy down analysis. And I do believe it's co-branded. Scott Nicholson. By the way, Jeremy, did you learn this idea from Scott Nicholson?
Yeah, I learned it from Scott Nicholson on a Mortgage Coach call. And I feel so dumb right now. Yeah, why am I not using the seller buy down? That makes sense.
No, but hey, I mean, there really is some nuances to doing it in the TCA, and then there's a time to do it in the seller buy down. So guys, this conversation is just getting started. It's not been a good week for rates. It's not been a good few months for interest rates. And by the way, what do we do when the going gets tough? I love that quote from Dan Rawich Thursday morning. Let me see if I can pull it up and find it. What did Dan say? He said, when things look bad, winners spend time making positive, focused solutions while others focus on problems and fears. By the way, great quote, Mr. Dan Rawich. And Jeremy, it looks like you have taken that to heart and come up with a pretty badass solution.
Yeah, well, I can't take credit for the solution. I learned it from you, but I can take credit for realizing quickly as to what's happening in the market and then executing it, and don't wait. I mean, that's the only advice I can really give. Not that anyone's asking me for it, is that just be first to get in front of it. And that's really what Dan's saying as well, is with that quote, is just be first to recognize the problem, come up with a solution, execute, repeat. That's it. Recognize the problem, solution, execute, repeat. That is our job all the time.
Love it, man. Well, hey, folks, I want to be respectful of Jeremy. He jumped on this call as he's making a trip. Jeremy, we don't want to hold you up, man. Do you have anything you want to say, or do you want to jump off the call and go get on your airplane?
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I super appreciate it. I'll mute myself and stay on. I don't think I bored for another 20 minutes or so. So if anyone has questions, feel free to ask me, but I'm going to stay on and learn from the other people on the call as well.
Well, then let's do this. Michelle Talon, why don't you rip on this? Because I know you've checked out Jeremy's video. You've kind of processed this. You know, Michelle's a $100 million a year producer, complete baller in the space. What are your thoughts? Why don't the two of you talk for 10 minutes while we're waiting for Jeremy to get on the plane?
Hey, Jeremy. Guys, I had the pleasure of having Jeremy in our Mastermind coaching group with kind of one on 13, as I call it. And it was incredible. You gave me, I want to tell you, Jeremy, I took my team to Colorado and we worked on our 8 non-negotiables. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It was a huge difference. And we extended that to our 8 non-negotiables as well with our realtors. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I always love learning. So,
Awesome.
but on this buy down thing, oh my gosh, or the seller concession, it's so funny. So our company, our broker of record has been in the business forever, and he's just really well respected. And he created a seller concession calculator, and I'll share it with you. My computer just unbooted, so I'm rebooting it back up, but I'll put that in there as well. It is incredible when you look at how much the seller's not giving up by doing a seller concession instead of a reduction in purchase price. I mean, it's, on our example, it was $600,000. It was a $34,000 difference in cash in the seller's pocket. So
Wow.
It was huge. That's huge. Also, one of the things that we're really going back to, especially for a long-term hold on people who are buying, like most of my clients are in their late 40s and 50s, and so they're thinking that this is home. I just did a presentation, and I'll be happy to share it as well, where the guy was doing a 20% high balance loan, and I was able to show him that putting 15% and doing a 2-point buy down saved him more money and saved him almost, I don't know, $100,000 in interest over the life of the loan. And he put $30,000 in his pocket and was able to pay off a different debt instead. So those are the things we need to get back to being creative, because we're in a market now where a $50,000 difference is now $200 in payment. It's no longer, $60 where nobody cared. It's significant now.
Yep.
So what do you think about that?
I think it's amazing. And I think I think it's incredible. So what you said about being, sorry guys, plane is moving. There we go. So
All good.
What you said about being creative, I just want to add a little color to that. I agree that you could file that under being creative. I will also argue, though, until I am blue in the face, that we just need to do our jobs, meaning that we are mortgage advisors, right? And we got out of the habit of advising people because it was easy to not advise people. What Michelle just laid out was great advice, right? So is that our job? I think that's the question. I want you all to write down and ponder. What is my job? I think my job is to find solutions and make sure that I'm doing the due diligence to uncover all rocks to make sure that the person's going to make a great decision. And that's exactly what you just laid out, Michelle. So yes, being creative, right? But at the same time, is it really being creative? I don't know. I mean, it's really just, I think, our job, and we need to relearn our job, right? And our value proposition is that if we're going to have an advice-based practice, we all have to be better about giving great advice, which means we have to do a little bit more work up front. So I love that strategy. I think it's great. I think that we should all be looking at buying down points with people right now and what's the real benefit, and just getting back to advice-based practice.
Guys, I love this conversation for so many reasons. I actually just recorded like a little 2-minute video for Sales Mastery, which by the way is next week. If you are on this call or you're watching this video, you're going to be at Sales Mastery. I am hosting a champagne toast in, God, I can't, it's the bar by the pool that has tequila in the name. At least I think it does, or at least maybe we'll do a tequila toast instead of the champagne toast. But I want to walk through 2 minutes of this, and then I want you and Michelle to rip off of this. Michelle, can you see my screen right now?
I can.
Yeah, so guys, the model is shifting. You know, transaction is less, advice is more. You know, I shared a stage with Todd Duncan yesterday where we presented at a sales rally, and advice is where it's at. That experience that you're delivering pre-LA, by the way, that experience you're bringing to realtors to help sell homes. So Todd Duncan's high trust selling, whether you call it ask people their hopes and dreams. At the end of the day, if you ask people their hopes and dreams, and then you deliver this, a fee worksheet, are you listening? Are you showing them how to build wealth with real estate? It's now more than ever, you need to go from, I asked you some questions, I have some ideas, to I'm creating a total cost analysis. I'm delivering you, if it's a first-time buyer, rent versus own. If you have someone in your office, you're delivering them a mortgage experience. Now more than ever, it's critical for you guys to go and deliver this, what I just call high trust, hopes and dreams, front-end conversation. You know, the scenario that you're looking at right now on my screen is where we're just saying, hey, family, what if you just paid an extra $100 a month? How much faster could you pay off your home? How much equity could you build up? You know, that is how you deliver unique and competitive advantage. This concept that closing in 20 days, or I'm the fastest, best transaction loan officer, that's not a unique and competitive advantage. Delivering advice is a competitive advantage. So 2 things I want everybody to do, you know, after this call. One, I want to make sure everybody studies Jeremy's video. I also want to make sure you put in this phone number and you get Todd Duncan's video, because not only do you get a video, but you get Todd Duncan scripts. So 949-272-0649, put in TCA, and you will get a sample of that TCA. You will get a video, and you also get a couple great scripts. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I think Jeremy actually had a jump. So I am gonna go to you, Michelle, let you riff on this. But I mean, I think the takeaway is we need to really reinvent what mortgage education is. And you know, part of that is delivering the total cost analysis, and then part of that is the conversation before that. Jeremy, I just want to confirm that you had to go. So let's give Jeremy one chance to talk. And yes, he had to go. So Michelle, what are some thoughts?
So Dave, so something I was listening to, you know, a couple of things this week, like Wednesday when we had our first, you know, pretty big, you know, we have had our worst day in mortgage rates since what, 2016. We had a pretty bad drop, but we also, it's been a while since we've seen this kind of rate hike in a while. And something that Barry Habib said in his presentation to what was happening, which was, you know, we're now done with the 10 years of the government coming in and buying bonds. And we're back to a normal market. So the stuff that's happening right now, the high trust selling, this is all normal. This is what we did pre-2007. And if you got into the business in 2007, or like me, got lazy and just let my rates sell me, we're getting back to, oh my gosh, you know, yeah, it's a little bit harder work and a little bit more, oh gosh, experience, a little bit more showing the people that it's not just about the rate, showing them what their options are. When you're in your intake call with your client, is saying, listen, I'm not the normal loan officer. I'm not going to show you an interest rate. We're going to talk about strategies first. You know, Dave, your last week's video, I changed a lot of my mortgage coach to strategy number 1, 2, and 3. I love that because these are mortgage strategies. We're not selling a fee sheet. We're selling a mortgage strategy. So make sure when you're in your intake call, ask the right questions to your clients. How long are you going to be in this house? What is your ultimate goal? Is the payment, if I could show you a different way, if I could show you a way of you're putting 15% down and I'm going to save you $30,000 and your payment's only going to be a $10 differential, but you're going to save $70,000 over the life of the loan, would that interest you? Use those teasers and use the mortgage coach. Dave, I'm sure you've seen my mortgage coach apps have gone up like double fold because I'm taking that extra 30 minutes to do the research, put it in a mortgage coach presentation, and I'm winning my deals over and over and over because I'm different than Quicken. I'm different than Costco because we're showing them something else. We're showing them who we are, what our value is. I think I spoke to you guys about a month ago where I had the first client that I had call out about was, I started doing my spiel and he stopped me and he says, "You have no value to me. I am all about interest rate." And it was like a test from God, so I started laughing instead of getting upset. And I just said, "Okay, great. Well, can you humor me for 5 minutes and let me just ask you a couple questions?" And by the time we were done, this guy has apped with me and I am his mortgage person, although I'm not the lowest interest rate. It's pretty incredible when you take the time to understand what your client needs and provide them with information that can help them.
Love it. Love it. So I want to transition to just going through our Facebook group, some topics, some posts that have come up. Hopefully you can see the screen. I'm going to remove some of these because, you know, as everybody knows, we can post things at the top of the group. So we have this announcements category, and some of these announcements have been up for a while. The newest one is Jeremy's seller buy down strategy and how he's presenting it. I am going to be looking to do some interviews with Jermey, with Scott Nicholson. If you're on this call and you're having a lot of success and you are presenting the total cost analysis or you're presenting the seller buy down, you know, one, if you could share that in our group, I would love to see our group blow up with some great examples of how you are delivering this strategy. Also, if you just, you know, want some coaching from the group, you know, like you want to create something and then you're like, "Hey, I'd love some feedback," feel free to post that in this group. That's what we're here for. We're here to share ideas, and then we're here to help you guys build the skills and the capabilities of actually implementing and executing them. So I'm going to leave this in the announcement section probably for a week, and I'll be looking for some other great examples of the seller buy down, and I'll promote them to the top. I'm going to go ahead and remove this quote from Dan Rawich. You know, by the way, if you like this quote, like I like this quote, give it a like. I do think it's also a good reminder that, remember, hopefully you've got Dan Rawich or Rate Watch app downloaded. So if you're a mortgage coach, you've got the Rate Watch app. And remember, every single morning, Dan is adding commentary and providing videos to keep you updated. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that from announcements, but it's great stuff. I want to remind everybody the Josh Metal strategy interview that I did last Saturday. It's getting rate shopped from 7 different buyers. By the way, Michelle, did you get a chance to check that one out by any chance?
I have not.
Okay, just might want to check it out. I've done 10 of these mortgage strategy interviews. This is a fantastic interview. It's a great example of how Josh took, you know, called the, you know, optimal rate shopper and was able to win with a total cost analysis, first time home buyer. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave it through the end of the day just because I'll give you guys one more chance to get to it. Bill Hart posted on the 2nd, "What are you doing to make sure you close Q4 strong?" And this is a great post just because the comments that came in were great. I mean, just a lot of wisdom and advice. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the announcement section, but if you didn't look at it and you want to see some ideas on how to close Q4 strong, check it out. This post from Tina, one of our success managers, was just asking for advice for new loan officers. Great post. We had 14 comments. great advice. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. But again, great post that I wanted you guys to check out. Adds value. This cost of waiting from John Downs, fantastic mortgage strategy interview. John's a top producer, going to close over $70 million this year out of the DC market. And he talked how he won a loan. He was in a very competitive situation. I think going from memory, it might have been he was competing with a builder. Anyways, he was competing with someone that had a better interest rate, better program. And he walked through how he used a 10-year ARM and was able to win that business with the cost of waiting analysis. I'm going to leave that in here for another couple days. By the way, Michelle, any comments on any of these yourself? I don't know if you've looked at any of them.
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't, but I will take some time this weekend to look at them. I just have been focused on I've been a little bit selfish focusing on my stuff. Sorry.
Well, no,
but I will read them.
No worries. This one I want to make sure everybody notices, just because about a month ago, we updated how when you share a total cost analysis on Facebook, or you share it, like this particular example is someone texted it in the Apple network, and we updated the logo so it's more clickable. It's a better marketing experience. Part of our goal was, we see a lot of mortgage coach loan officers sharing these links and these total cost analysis on Facebook as strategies, or in Messenger, or via text. And we just wanted to make it more valuable and more clickable. So FYI, there's an upgrade. Highly recommend that you're texting them to clients. This one was pretty cool just because the loan officer emailed the link and texted the link. And the client was like, dude, that analysis of video is amazing. So, I mean, that is how you win business in today's market. So check that out and know about that upgrade. And then my last feature post is Shane Kidwell, incredible success story. 4 years ago was a full-time fireman. Now he's full-time loan officer, killing it, has built a great platform, is doing spectacular business. And he talks about how he is winning with rate shoppers with Mortgage Coach. So I love, if you watch this interview, I love the term he calls powerful conversations. Probably similar to what Todd Duncan would call high trust selling, but just a great interview. Highly recommend you check it out. So I am going to throw it back to the community. Michelle, any topics you have, or anything you see coming in from the community on questions that we want to answer, or topics that we want to cover?
So I did share our financing concession. It's an Excel spreadsheet for a quick calculator. So that's on. I just shared that onto the Mortgage Coach community. So feel free to use that. I think it will be an incredible way to just put it in black and white for your realtors. If they want something simple, and then you can do a Mortgage Coach presentation on top of that. But hopefully that helps somebody. I would say so far, we talk a lot about what's happening this year, and remember, we're at the tail end of the quarter, which means that you should be building next year right now. You should be building all your strategies for next year. This year it's not done because you can still do what you need to do, but you should have a very clear plan of what next year looks like for you, what's your market that you're going to target. And start getting all your appointments scheduled in, because starting in November, it's going to be hard to get hold of anybody. So start now. Go get your appointments and say, hey, just get something on the calendar for the first week in January, the second week in January. And then you can do follow-ups with that. But that's going to get you in front of, what happens in January and February. Everybody who finishes Mortgage Coach or mortgage classes and wants to be a mortgage originator, they go out and hit every single realtor, start calling them, and go to every single open house. So you've got to get in front of your realtors again. So remember to do it now so that you'll have one step above what's about to happen in January. Also, some of the things that I hear is every loan is tough right now. That's coming from my friends at America, Chase, Wells, my entire group at United American, the friends that in my community that I know. I said the number one thing that they tell me is everything's hard right now. And I'm so thankful that they shared that with me, because sometimes we feel like we're in an island when when our own loans are tough, but everything is tough right now. Competition is fierce. Clients are upset because they don't understand why interest rates are going up. You know, get them the historic interest rates. Pay off that interest rates are rising. I don't make a big deal about interest rates are rising. I'm like, are they rising? Me too. Because we can't sustain this. You know, we've had an artificial low interest rate. So change the conversation. Something that we learned, and I think I talked this last week, was ask a different question to get a different answer.
Love it. Michelle, you still there?
I am.
Oh, okay. I totally love that. I did see a couple of questions come in that I want to make sure we cover. So I'll field them, and then Michelle, feel free to add your thoughts on top of those. Let me pull them back up. So one person said they couldn't find the link to the seller buy down. I just want to remind you, it is in our Facebook group. You should be able to find it. And also remember, you can just go to the search feature in Facebook called Search This Group, type in seller buy down, and you'll get more stuff. So it'll just be an ongoing source of value. Check it out. If you're still having trouble, email support@mortgagecoach.com. Or, hey, I have people all the time, say, hey, Dave, I have this problem, or I'm getting ready to go meet with a financial planner, or, whatever it is. I've got a first meeting. Anybody have a video that they recommend I check out? You could always also post that in our Facebook group and put the power of the community behind us. I know one client just posted, or one person on this Facebook group right now on this conversation said, let's say, looking into next year and considering adding some financial planners. Can you share how you recommend getting a call list for financial planners? So I do have an answer for that, but Michelle, I'm going to throw it to you first. Any suggestions for Kathleen?
I don't, but I also, your best source of financial planners is to go back to your database, go back to your closed loans and grab them from your client list, because then you have an intro. Hi, I helped Mr. Smith with his loan. I noticed that you're his financial advisor. Would you be interested in a meeting? That would be, for me, that would be the first place, because I don't like cold calling. So I would go with a warm call first for me.
Beautiful. I'm going to answer that. And my answer is, while you could Google it, your city financial planner, and by the way, depending on how much you want to go after the strategy, that's definitely something to do. I built my business and the backstory to Mortgage Coach, getting business from CPAs and financial planners. Wrote a book called The Art of Referral, and it will break down how I went about that. It's in my LinkedIn profile. So if you go to Dave Savage on LinkedIn, and it's a book at the bottom called The Art of Referral. But I without question think the best way is through your network. Ask people who their financial planner is. Oh, would you mind introducing me to them? So quality is always the best. So I would only start cold calling out of Google after I have leveraged people that know me, like me, and trust me, and ask them, hey, who's your financial planner? Oh, you don't have one? Do you know of a good one? Oh, and based off of how well they know them, get introductions. So I would spend a lot of energy trying to get introductions, leveraging your social capital in your network. And once you feel like, okay, I've done that, okay, and I need more, and I like this conversation, and I really want to get after it, now, go out there and build a list. And then I've done a lot of interviews on this topic. So if you want more help with the financial planner strategy, put a post in our Facebook group. I'll throw in some videos, and I know we have a lot of other people in our community that can probably help you and kind of add on to that. Amber Lynn said, what app to download? Was it Rate Watch or Mortgage Coach? Well, first of all, I hope you have both. So there is Rate Watch, one word, and as a Mortgage Coach member, you have that app. That's where we help you manage mortgage-backed securities, give you daily updates. They're all shareable. So hopefully you have that. And then of course, everybody should have the Mortgage Coach app. And for example, if you click on Jeremy's link from your mobile device, it'll tell you, download the app. So, the answer is have both. But just a minute ago, I was recommending the Rate Watch app. Dave Porter said, can you share that worksheet? Yeah, for the seller buy down. So yeah, Dave, it's in our Facebook group now, so check it out. And then I just want to remind folks, we're just starting this seller buy down conversation. Scott Nicholson, if you're on this call, I hope to have you as a guest sometime soon, or do an interview for you, or do an interview with you. So anybody that is killing it with seller buy downs, let's create some scripts, let's create some samples, and let's help the whole mortgage coach community level up and get after it with this strategy. Michelle, any other questions you see or anything else you want to add at this point?
No, I would say the other thing when you're going into your financial planners and is to make sure that you bring them value by saying, hey, we're keeping them away from the big banks, the Chase, the Bank of America, and the Wells, so they don't try to take your clients' assets. Maybe that might be another strategy to get your foot in the door, is that we work on mortgages. We don't work on their financials. We want them to stay with you, and we want to be a team, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I like that. So I would love to know and get the group commenting in chat. So I'd love to see Zoom chat blow up right now. And when you think of who your biggest competition is, whether it's a loan that you recently lost, or you had to compete with, a builder lender, a big bank, another local referral-based lender, Quicken, whoever you think is your top competition, I would just love a word or two in chat. Who are you competing with out there in the marketplace right now? So local banks, credit unions, builder lender, for sure. Recently, I lost a deal to Wells. Yeah, I'm hearing that all the time. I saw that post from Bliss Sawyer. Bliss, I don't know if you're on the call, but it looked like Chase had sent out a FedEx to a big loan of hers. So again, if you love to know who you're competing with, just because it helps me bring more value and more leadership to you guys, to credit unions, the market competition. Yeah. Michelle, any commentary you have on that? Like who do you think is your competition right now?
Well, right now, so I have a couple friends that work at Wells and Bank of America and Chase, and I'll tell you, make sure you partner up with your friends there, because the loans that you can, that that it's going to be better for them to go to Chase, and you're going to lose it to them anyway. Give the referral, because it will make you look better in the client's eyes as well. But also it creates that relationship with your big bank when they have something that falls out of the cracks. That's where we're getting a lot of high impact right now, because we are so out of the box, that if you don't fit into the big bank's box, you don't get a loan unless you have a ton of money with them. But they're, right now, my friends at Wells are selling 100 basis points under market. And they've been told to sell that way because they want the deposit. So just know, if you have that big $2 million loan and it's a pretty perfect file and they bank with Chase, Chase is going to come after them. Be prepared. And sometimes addressing it up front, saying, hey, I noticed that you bank with Chase. I don't want you to lose the deal either, but if you're going to lose the deal to somebody because then you can at least have a referral source. But also, I lost a huge deal to Bank of America. And it was crazy. I was doing a 4% 7/1 interest only on a $2.6 million deal. And Bank of America came in at 3.5% on a 7/1 IO. And I told the guy, I said, lock it in right now before the rates change. I said, that's a great rate. So we're not going to be the end all for some of these big loans.
Are you getting referrals, from your bank relationships? Like how many referrals are you getting a year or a month from the relationships that you build with, other lenders?
I would say probably 5 to 10 a year right now, which is significant. And I'm probably closing 50% of them. So, to me, it's a great way, and it's my core people that I see when I'm out in the broker opens, or that I know. Those are the people I refer to. I only refer to people I know. I won't refer to people I don't know. So, and they do the same. They want to refer to me because they want to make sure that I know what I'm doing, and I always keep them in the loop as well.
Yeah, no, hey, great takeaway. And, for everybody listening to the call right now, just a reminder that you should absolutely build relationships with your lending competition so that it kind of goes both ways. So makes tons of sense. If anyone else is doing that, would love to hear what you're doing and how you're doing it. So we got about 20 minutes left. I do have other topics, but I would also love for remember this is Mastermind style, guys, whether you're in Facebook Live, whether you're watching us in Zoom, if you do have other questions, this is a time for the mortgage coach community to huddle up where the best get better. And we've already kicked it off. I mean, heck, we could have ended it, based off of Jermey seller buy down. That was huge. Michelle, any other topics you want to tackle before we, open it up and I take a few more questions from the community?
No, I would just encourage everybody in the community to reach out. Remember, we are here to help you guys. And if we don't get feedback, we don't know that the topics we're talking about are relevant or that we're helping you. So, I mean, obviously we don't sit here and talk for an hour about stuff that means absolutely nothing to nobody. So please don't be afraid to raise your hand or put a comment in, or even get on the, we used to do this thing where we would call somebody out, and I would love to get back to that because the interaction between you guys empowers me. It feeds my fuel. It's my fuel. I need to hear from you guys.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, by the way, I haven't called anybody out and just, pulled someone into the call for a long time. Let's think about that. I'm going to go through the list, look for someone that I know that I won't feel bad for putting them. Ooh, Katie Pastor. Well, it doesn't look like I have the superpower to unmute Katie. Marcy, if you're on the call, could you make me an organizer so I can pull people into the call? And if you could also help promote Katie Pastor, unmute her so we can talk to her. And let's see, we don't have Bliss. Bliss would have been a good one. By the way, if you want to come in, jump on stage, ask a question or share an idea. Oh, Bliss is here. Well, but I don't have the superpower to unmute her. Marcy, are you on the call? Marcy. Oh, well. I was going to put someone on the spot, bring someone else into the mastermind, but I don't have the superpowers to do that right now. If Marcy comes back, I will do that. In the meantime, I am going to go back to sharing my desktop. Michelle, if you can confirm you can see it.
I cannot see it, but I'm not on Zoom anymore. I'm on Facebook Live.
Yeah, no problem. So I just want to come back to this mortgage strategy piece because I am looking for I'm now looking for seller buy down mortgage strategies. And then because I'm hearing so much competition from builder lenders that, are providing incentives, I still want to empower the mortgage coach community to compete and win. So if you have a total cost analysis and there's a great story and strategy around how you presented options and strategies for the family to win that business in that particular scenario, please, share it in the group or send me an email, Dave@Mortgage Coach, because we're looking to continue to build on these mortgage strategies that help you guys in today's market. So I just want to remind you of that. I want to go ahead and click on this recent seller buy down with Kelly Zitlow. I want to remind you guys, not only is there a video, so there's a video where I'm interviewing the top producer around a story and a strategy. But then if you go down below, there's always a total cost analysis. So you go and hear the narrative, hear the scripting, hear the strategy, and then you can go and click on the scenario. So a couple things I wanted to call out and remind everybody on. You'll notice that this is just a trend in the community where they're not programs, they're strategies. So someone's renting, Kelly put strategy A, strategy B, strategy C. So best practice to everyone on this call, remember you're selling strategies, you're not selling programs. And then remember, one of the things, even when I'm doing these interviews, I'm finding a lot of loan officers that, they're putting in the transactional details, they're showing the strategies, but they could spend more time and they could do more with, well, what if you took strategy A and you prepaid the mortgage? So showing the midterm, the long-term value. So I just want to remind the whole community, part of being an advisor, I would almost put like a best practice to an advice-based conversation is making sure you're going beyond the transaction. You're delivering advice in a unique way with a strategy around the transaction. And then you're always going, and here's that impact over the 3 years that you told me was important. And you told me you wanted to be debt-free in 15 years. So I did it in 3 years and 15. Or you're always showing 2 to 3 time horizons is just the best practice with advice. Anything you want to add to that, Michelle?
No, I don't have anything to add to it. I think you did a great job.
Okay, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to try one more time. Marcy, are you here on the call? Marcy. Yeah, I still can't promote anybody. Hey, Marcy,
hey, Dave,
are you here? Go ahead.
Dave, it's Michelle. So I was going through our Facebook stuff, and I know Bliss posted yesterday that she was putting together her seller's guarantee. Is there anybody, like, can we do a poll, or can we do a poll on Zoom to see if anybody else is doing something like that?
So I could. I don't know if I could throw it together that quick because
Okay,
I don't have organizer. But by the way, ask the question, and one, I could throw a poll up in the Facebook group in a minute, and 2, you guys could comment in comments. So why don't you go ahead and do that?
Yes, so I would just, for me, the question is, I mean, no, Bliss wants to do the seller guarantee if the loan doesn't close. And I think one of our other presenters was talking about they do a $1,000 for each party, like the seller, the real estate agent, the seller, and then the buyer as well. I don't know if anybody is running into any challenges with that, because I know RESPA for us is really tight, so I don't know how they protect them, but I'm interested to see what Michael's seller sent to Bliss, because he sent her a guarantee from Marketplace. So I just didn't know if anybody else was doing that.
Yeah, sounds good. And then, by the way, we've only got about 10 minutes left of the call, and John Fortner just asked a question. You know, he mentioned that you had that realtor that told you had no value, and you turned it around to where he had value. What did you say? What were some of the talking points? As a question from John.
Sure, and actually this was a client that was referred to me by one of my top agents, and the conversation started. I was like, "Hi, this is Michelle from the town group. You know, Rick referred me to you, and he goes, before you even start your spiel, I just want you to know you have no value to me. I don't care how long you've been in the business. I don't care what you've done. I use Provident Funding for all my loans because it's an internet loan officer that doesn't charge me an arm and a leg and blah, 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 blah." And I just tried, I mean, all I could do was laugh, and I go, "Oh my gosh." So I said to him, "It's nice to meet you as well." And I said, "And it sounds like you have a pretty clear picture of how you want this to go." I said, "But do you have 2 minutes for me that I can ask a couple of questions to make sure that Provident Funding is the right source and that an internet loan officer can help you?" And what I had done was, this particular guy was buying a house for his daughter, and so he was being quoted investment property rates. He never thought of the idea of adding his daughter to the loan so that it could be a primary residence with a cosigner. And so by the time we were done, not only had I saved him money, but he thanked me, which was interesting. And within 5 minutes, he had started his application. So all I did was turn it back on him and ask him. Remember, I talked about ask a question to get a different answer. If I was to ask the question of, well, is interest rate your only thing? He said yes. And I asked him why. And he didn't know how to answer the question. And I said, well, the reason why, and then I go into why I asked that. I said, the reason why I asked that is I want to ensure that you're doing the right thing for you and your daughter. Is this a long-term home for her? Does she have a job? Is she willing to be on a loan? How's her credit? And once we started uncovering and I started peeling those onion layers off of him, he was much more apt. And at the end, he says, you know, I learned more and we were on the phone for almost 45 minutes. He goes, I learned more in 45 minutes than I thought I knew in 20 years. of doing loans. And so he said, thank you. He goes, you've proven, and I said, have I proven my value to you? And he goes, you have. And he goes, touche. He goes, send me your app and I'll fill it out. And he was spot on, right on. Now he still shops for rates. Do I think that I'm going to be able to keep him? I don't know. I don't know if my value was enough, but for me, that was a win for me. It was taking a client that was completely opposed to talking to me and getting him to let me not only run his credit, but send all his financial information to me. And we talk on a regular basis every week. And he's always like, well, I just got this promotion from Wells Fargo, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you don't fit into the Wells Fargo box because you're not in the jumbo market. That's a jumbo rate they're quoting you. So I'm educating him some more. So hopefully I don't educate myself out of a loan, but sometimes that happens.
So two takeaways, and then I'm going to bring Dan Keller into the conversation. He has joined us. So two things struck me as I heard how you answered that question. And I heard the same thing if you listen to Josh Metal Mortgage Strategy, where he had a first-time home buyer that was, shopping on the 7 different lenders, is first of all, you had thick skin. It wasn't like you even got irritated and mad. You just, heart of gratefulness. And it's like, step into the Coliseum. You just, like when Josh talked about how he won this, rate shopper, he had fun. He was so much fun. And I just heard you describe it and you were just like, oh, game on. And you went after it. So I just want to remind folks, there's having strategies, there's asking questions, but it's how you show up. I mean, it's your attitude. Like, are you like mad? Did you take it personally? No, it's like game on, you don't think I have any value? Let's rock. And I'm sure you just showed up with a great attitude, and obviously you said some great things and won the business. But I just want everybody to check your attitude, like when you're getting grinded. By the way, when a realtor no-shows you, Jermey, we did that interview a couple weeks ago where Jeremy's like, I love it when realtors no-show me, and how he turns that into an advantage. It's like, he actually has a term for it called guilt marketing. Listen to the interview where he's like, he actually creates scenarios so he gets no-showed, So anyways, Dan Keller, we'll close it out with you. We got 7 minutes left or 8 minutes left of the call. Tell us what you're doing, brother.
Yeah, how's the audio? Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you. We can see you. What's up?
Awesome. Okay, so I wasn't on the first part of the call. I coach my loan officers at my branch every single Friday from 9 to 9:45. So I just had to run over from that. But I just got to hear you say something along the lines of how you show up and being more effective. And it's exactly what I'm coaching. It's what I'm being coached on right now, and it's what I coached on today. And it's a simple formula. So I hope this isn't way off course here from what you guys were talking about today. But activity times effectiveness equals results. And that's what I've been focusing on in my business. Dave, you and I got to spend happy hour with you a couple weeks ago, and you introduced me to a book called The Power of Who. And it was so relevant right now in my life and my business, where what I'm doing right now in my business so the two big activities that I do is I call realtors and I call prospects, I call buyers. And so those are the activities. So then taking what I have to do from start to finish on both of those tasks and trying to audit how I can be more effective. Because if I audit how and I become more effective, I'm going to have greater results, higher conversions, better relationships. And the key word today, I think, is this book that you introduced to me, The Power of Who by Bob Bodine. Absolutely rocked my world. And it's totally taken me into a different trajectory right now going into 2019. It's about going deep with 12 people, not 50, not 40, going deep with people that have already made an impact in your life. And I think it's how you show up and what you are doing with people that will help grow relationships. That's what I'm up to right now, man. So I hope this was kind of relevant to your call.
Yeah, no, well, first of all, The Power of Who is always relevant to the call. And the first time I interviewed Bob, I think it was about 3 years ago, Bob and I actually shared a stage at Sales Mastery, and then we became good friends. In fact, if you see my screen right now, Bob is also on the board of the Texas Rangers, and he invited me to a game in the dugout suite. and he let me bring my best friend. You'll see in the middle, it's George W. Bush. You know, we got to meet George W. Bush. We got to hang out with Nolan Ryan. I got to bring one of the guys that was best man at my wedding. And so I just bring that up because, first of all, it's a really good interview. So if you have not listened to this is the first interview I did with Bob called The Power of Who. But there's just this message is so on point. I'm not going to brag about who Bob is right now. What I probably will do, Dan, is I'm going to invite Bob to do another interview because I do think right now in today's market, it's a super on point message.
Yeah.
My advice to everybody on this call, watch the interview. I tell everybody buy the book. I mean, it's one of my all-time favorite books. Why don't you just share what you did? Like, you know, you and I had happy hour. I mean, I just casually mentioned the book. I mean, I think I put a 1 minute, maybe a 2 minute rant around why I loved it. And then like, what exactly are you doing with it now?
So when you kind of introed the book to me, and I think we were just talking, you and I were just talking about some of the things that I'm doing right now in business, what I'm focusing on. And I'm focusing on being more relevant, more impactful. I think I coached with Jermey Forcier last 6 months, and a big focus of coaching with him was you just add impact in people's lives. Whatever you do, from a home buyer, from a realtor, to your wife, to your kids, be more impactful. And we're talking about that, and you're like, hey, have you heard of the book, you know, The Power of Who? And I'm like, no. And you basically what you told me was, this guy, you didn't tell me how successful he was, by the way. This is crazy. But he had 5,000.
He's a legend. I mean, like,
yeah.
In the corporate recruiting world,
yeah.
I mean, the guy is, you know, he's like the Jerry Maguire of recruiters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sports Illustrated calls him the most powerful man in sports you never knew, you know? And so anyhow, the guy had 5,200 friends. He spent 30 years professionally making friends and building a business, 5,200 friends. Out of that, he audited that. 86 of them were people that he had relationships with. So he realized that he was wasting a lot of time on 4,000 plus people. But then he took it another step and he looked at the 86 people that he's friends with or knows or has relationships with, and only 12 of them contributed to adding value financially, spiritually, emotionally into his life. And so he went deep with those 12 and his life changed. And so you had me at that. I went out and bought the book. I read the book. I listened to some of the interviews with him online, and I'm absolutely smitten with the idea that, you know, Jesus had 12, 3 good, 1 best, and I'm just going to mirror that. And I'm telling you what, just in the last week and a half, the conversations I'm having with people are different. I reached out to 2 people that I would consider friends that added some value to my life the other day, and they called me back because I told them at the end of the message, the voicemail was like, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you and I love you. And they were dudes. And they both called me back and they're like, man, I had no idea that I had such a big impact. And I feel honored. I feel grateful. Let's get together and talk and kind of reconnect. So I appreciate you so much, Dave, for introducing me to this book. And I can't wait to see what it does in my business.
Yeah. And by the way, one of the concepts in the book, it's called Who Friday, where Bob time blocks. I don't know if it's the whole day or half the day.
Yeah.
I picked it up and I try to do half the day at noon on Friday. That I call people that give me energy. They're friends, and some of them have, you know, like their strategic business relationships. And by the way, some of them are high school friends that I haven't talked to in many years. And you just call people up, and, you know, 1 with a heart of curiosity to hear how they're doing, and 2 with a heart of love. You know, let them know you love them. So, anyways, good book, on point. Thanks, Dan. I'll actually reach out to Bob today. Maybe I'll make a who call to him. So guys, we are at the top of the hour. Hopefully you got value from today's call. If you're watching the video, give it a like, share it with your mortgage friends. By the way, Dan, you missed the first 15 minutes. We had Jermey Forcier, and he shared his seller buydown strategy. I put it in the group today. So I do have one ask for you, Dan. One, make sure you check it out. And then I have a feeling you're going to run with this idea, and I would love to, you know, do a mortgage strategy interview once you saw the idea, you took it in action. I would love to hear how you put this idea to action.
Done.
Michelle Town, any last words before we wrap up today's call?
Happy Friday. That's all I can say. And I will be here next week, but the week after I will be in Mexico for my vacation. So looking forward to it.
Right on. Well, have a good one, everybody. And remember, let's grow this group. We'd love to have more people on this Friday Mastermind call. We want more people in the Facebook group. So feel free to invite your friends. In our Facebook group, you can actually add people. So as long as they're not spammers and they're mortgage pros, we want them in our group. Take care, everybody.